everyone, it's Ritzy with Vivid Kids, and I'm here with another story. Today's lesson is about Zacchaeus and his encounter with Jesus. So without further ado, here's a little man with a big heart. Zacchaeus lived in Jericho. He had one of the biggest and best houses in town. He was a very rich man, but no one liked Zacchaeus because everyone believed that he had got his money by cheating. He charged people more than their taxes and kept the extra money for himself. One day, Zacchaeus heard that Jesus was coming to Jericho. He had heard a lot about Jesus. People talked about how Jesus had healed the sick, the lame, and the blind. It was rumored that he had raised someone from the dead. All these things made Jesus special and made Zacchaeus want to meet him. Zacchaeus had heard about Levi Matthew leaving his job and becoming one of Jesus' closest followers. He had been talked about everywhere. Since one of Jesus' closest followers had been a tax collector, maybe Jesus would talk to Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus decided to try to catch a glimpse of Jesus, so he left his tax station and went out into the street. It was crowded. He tried to get close, but it was hopeless. People just moved closer together when they saw who was trying to get near Jesus. He may have tried jumping up to see over their heads, but he was so short. He was determined not to give up. He must see Jesus. Zacchaeus looked along the street. A big tree was growing along the way. Climbing trees was not the sort of thing grown men did, but there was no other way he was going to see Jesus, so he went up. Zacchaeus sat on a big branch and looked down the road, and he saw Jesus coming closer and closer. And the crowds were getting thicker and thicker. When Jesus reached the tree, he stopped and looked up. He saw Zacchaeus and smiled. Everyone stopped and looked up. They saw Zacchaeus too. "Zacchaeus, come down. I am going to your house today," Jesus said. Zacchaeus could hardly believe his ears. Jesus was going to his house? He climbed down the tree and led the way to his house. Everyone began to mutter and say, "Jesus has gone to be guest of a sinner." Zacchaeus stood up and said, "Lord, I will give half of everything I own to the poor. If I have cheated anyone, I will give them back 4 times as much." Jesus looked at Zacchaeus and then at the people who were muttering and criticizing him. He turned to Zacchaeus and said, "Today, salvation has come to this house. This is the reason the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost." Before Zacchaeus saw Jesus, he had begun to show that he was sorry for cheating people. Now he confessed this before the crowd. He showed that loving Jesus helped him to make things right. Jesus can help you make things right too. Hey, it's me again. So just a few quick questions to finish up with our story. There's a lot, so bear with me. So why did people not like Zacchaeus? Right, that's number one. Why couldn't Zacchaeus see Jesus? And why did Jesus stop and talk to him when Zacchaeus was in the tree? What do you think? How do you think Zacchaeus felt when Jesus stopped and talked to him? Jesus is kind of like our friend. And I know that if my friend ever stopped and talked and said, hey, we should hang out, I'm going to come over today, I know I would feel good. So just think about that. Do you think Jesus was a friend of Zacchaeus? How do you think he felt? And when Jesus said that he was going to his house, as in Zacchaeus' house, was it necessary for Zacchaeus to give half of his money to the poor? If you did something bad, would you give half of your things to somebody else trying to make up for it? To repay everyone he had cheated. That was what Zacchaeus did it. And so why? Why do you think he did that? So Zacchaeus learned that he needed to put things right. When do you need to make things right and why? All right. It's just a few little questions, some food for thought as they call it. So, ask a parent or ask your friends if they're watching this with you, but just kind of talk amongst yourselves and, discuss kind of like about the story. What would you do if you were Zacchaeus and how would you feel? Anyways, till next time. Bye.